Over the last decade, Man United have not been associated with well-executed summer transfer windows, but 2023 looks to have been an exception, with top targets Mason Mount and Andre Onana signed by mid-July, and Rasmus Hojlund now arriving to fix their problems centre-forward position. But whereas those first two enter Old Trafford as seasoned professionals in their prime, with Mount a Champions League winner, Onana a Champions League finalist, and boasting almost 600 club appearances between them, Højlund is a relatively unknown entity at 20 years of age and with just one season's worth of experience in a top 5 league in which he hit just 9 goals. It means that the fee United agreed with Atalanta for his services, which could rise to £72 million with add-ons, is undoubtedly an overpay, but one that coach Erik Ten Hag clearly thinks is worth paying given the player's age profile and potential. If he can deliver on his promise over a number of seasons, then the fee United have paid will be more than justified, with fans of the Red Devils having to cast their mind back to the days of Rooney and Van Persie for the last time the club boasted an elite centre-forward at their peak. But such moves always carry a risk, and this may be the last time in a while that the Red Devils can gamble such money on a young striker. In this episode of FD Explained, we're going to assess what impact Højlund will have on the United attack and how successful he can be in the Premier League. The first thing Premier League fans will notice about Rasmus Hojlund is his physicality. Not only does his surname sound similar to a certain striker at rivals Man City, something that along with his Scandinavian heritage will no doubt become an increasingly tedious feature of Premier League coverage this season, but Højlund and Haaland are also part of a new breed of strikers whose size doesn't negate from their speed. United's new number 9 stands at 6'3", and yet Atalanta manager Gianpiero Gasperini claims he can run 100 metres in sub-11 seconds when he's not trying that hard. According to Gasperini, he has a low centre of gravity and can move his legs very fast despite his tall stature, and this is evident on the pitch, with the Denmark international able to make up significant yards to catch up with backtracking centre-backs in a matter of seconds. This makes him an ideal candidate to latch onto through balls from the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount and Christian Eriksen. Though Ten Hag hasn't necessarily had to rely on such attributes from his centre-forwards in the past, with Dusan Tadic operating as an all-action false 9 for him in the 2019-20 season, and Wout Weghorst brought in as a facilitating forward last term, it's not hard to see why Højlund's skill set appeals to him. For all of United's improvements under him in 2022-23, they still lacked penetration in the final third, with Marcus Rashford the only player to score over 8 goals in the league, and the team ranking joint 7th in the Prem for goals scored on 58 alongside Brentford. Luckily, Rashford enjoyed an excellent campaign and missed just 3 games all year, but had he got injured for any significant amount of time, as he has in seasons past, then United almost certainly would not have qualified for the Champions League. This simply isn't good enough for a club that has spent more on transfers than anyone else in the world bar Chelsea over the last 10 years, and is indicative of a continued failure to invest properly in the striker position. Big money was spent on Romelu Lukaku in 2017, but the club has otherwise looked to short-term fixes when it comes to recruiting goalscorers, with Ibrahimovic, Cavani and Ronaldo all arriving in the twilight of their careers, and Ighalo and Weghorst signed on loan from clubs in the Chinese Super League and Championship respectively. In Højlund, United finally have someone with the physical prowess required to front a team that attacks with pace. According to Opta, Ten Hag's side record more direct attacks, ones which start just within a team's own half and end with a shot or touch inside the box within a short space of time, than anyone else in the league last term, and ranked 7th behind Tottenham for build-up attacks, ones which include 10 or more passes. Højlund shouldn't find it hard fitting in with this style, given that Atalanta have become a more direct attacking team in recent years. Last term, they ranked 4th in Serie A for direct attacks and 8th for build-up attacks. With Ten Hag's ambitions of making United the best transition team in the world, the young striker's pace, as well as his ability to react quickly to breakdowns in possession and put opposition defences under pressure with his runs in behind, should suit the direction the team is going in. Of course, he will be expected to finish off his work in the build-up with goals, and while he only scored 9 in Serie A last season at a rate of 1 every 204 minutes, his attacking numbers remain impressive for a striker of his age. If he's provided the chances, he will score, converting from 9.5 expected goals last season with an average of 0.47 expected goals per 90. The only United player with over 1,000 minutes under their belts last term to beat that was Rashford, with Antony next on 0.33 and Bruno after him on 0.25. Ollie Watkins, one of the Premier League's most potent scorers last term, averaged the same as Hojlund. But it's not just for his goal scoring that Hojlund will be an asset. As already alluded to in regards to his use of Wout Weghorst last season, Ten Hag clearly values forwards who are able to get the best out of players around them, and Hojlund's ability to drop deep, carry the ball and make off-the-ball runs helped second striker Ademola Lookman score 13 in the league for Atalanta, with the pair directly combining for 4 goals. Though they mainly played together in a front two, Lookman has also spent the majority of his career playing as a winger, and so Hojlund's skill sets should suit a player like Rashford, who is at his explosive best playing off the left, but is very much a goal scorer rather than a creator. With Hojlund playing through the centre, there should be less pressure on Rashford to constantly make things happen, as the Denmark international is also adept at taking on defenders, ranking in the top 7% of strikers for both carries into the penalty area and touches in the box, and in the top 1% for progressive passes received. Possessing both the physicality to keep defenders at bay when holding up the ball and the skill to beat them with his footwork, Hojlund has shown himself to be a reliable presence in the final third. So despite his youth and relative inexperience, his Atalanta teammates clearly trusted his ability on the ball, and given Ten Hag favoured Anthony Martial, a ball-carrying centre-forward who would have seen a lot more game time last term were it not for his poor fitness record, he will expect the same kind of work rate from Hojlund in build-up. As we can see from his heat map, the 20-year-old makes himself known in all areas of the final third, and while the presence of Bruno Fernandes may require him to streamline his movement, dropping deep less and anticipating the final ball more, Hojlund's mobility is a cut above any United striker in recent memory. It should only be a benefit to the rest of the attack. There will always be question marks over a young striker signing for a huge club for a highly inflated fee. Just look at the pressure faced last season by Darwin Núñez, a raw but far more experienced goalscorer than Hojlund, who entered an attack at Liverpool which, despite the drop-off in results, still functioned much better than United's in 22-23. There's every chance Hojlund doesn't reach double figures in the league this term, especially if other elements of the attack don't improve. For example, Jadon Sancho and Antony, both inconsistent performers last term. And given he only made 20 league starts for Atalanta, there's also a possibility he has eased into the side, with Rashford able to deputise up front and Alejandro Garnacho able to fill in for the Englishman on the left. But the evidence is there that Hojlund can be a serious asset to Erik ten Hag's long-term vision for the United attack. While it's only sensible for fans to temper their immediate expectations, they also have every reason to dream of a future Old Trafford superstar. So that was our take on how Rasmus Hojlund will fit in at Man United, but how do you see him doing in his first season in the Premier League? Do you think his recent injury will hinder his early progress? And how many goals do you see him getting in his first campaign? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're new here, subscribe to Football Daily, as we put out videos every single day reacting to the latest action from the Premier League, the Champions League, and from across all of Europe's top leagues too. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.